I don't like what you say anyway.
Get that out. Oh! Yeah, g'day, mate. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm sick, so this could be very stupid. I'm going to go as long as I can be bothered, because the sniffles have got me, dog. They got me, dog, and my cat. This is me, Rob, aka Spedsy. Doing some stuff. I'm working on this thing. Thought I'd work on it in front of you and you can hold me accountable. Is this suitable for children? Sure, but I might drop some tidbits. All right, well, there you go. It's not suitable for children because we're going to be talking about tits, apparently. Proudly sponsored by the Comex Network, Comex Studio. Let's not say proudly. Let's see how we go. It'll be up to Sizzle if he's Gary Proudly to support this. What am I doing? So I'm working on the cover to Vamoose 4, which tidbit might not be called number 4. It might just, it's likely going to just be called Vamoose : It's Evolution Baby. Because she's a big mama. Yeah. Oh, it's proudly supported. Oh, and comments. Bring them on. I just probably won't click them. I'll talk about them, but I might not click them onto the screen because it'll slow me down. Oh, thanks, Pete. And I already broke the rule, put it on the screen. Yeah, so what we've got here is a bunch of people's characters that appear in the book. And as you can see, some it started as rough pencils and then some have been tightened. So I'm going to do some more tightening tonight. I thought I would be getting to inks, but this has been a little bit of an endeavor. Now, one thing that's plaguing me is that I have to fit in Nick Cleary's characters because his pages have since dropped. So I put this little guy here in Nick May's character's hair, and I don't like it. The thing with Nick May's character here is she's got a bouffant of orange, and it would make for quite a nice... My colors can be a little bit flat, maybe. But if I directly sample from Nick's orange, it'd be quite a nice little splash. You know what I'm saying? So I might be going to move this guy. Can you see my little cursor? Maybe. I'm going to move this guy maybe over to here. Is one of the plans. And then this needs to be addressed. This is Nick Cleary's other character, one of his other characters. This big dinosaur here is Neil Blandon's character. Now, I believe Neil Blandon meant that this dinosaur was eating grass. And I've kind of got him, the green stuff as puke or drool or something. So I want to fix this mouth so that it looks more like, I don't know. This is what I just... I had this character. I can never remember which one's Thunderguts and which one's Sputnik. But one of Nick May's guys I had waving, but then I got this other lady over here waving. So he's now holding up this dinosaur's head for whatever reason. So lots of referencing to be referenced. Don't sample me orange, Gov. All right. So what I'm about to do is I might start with this. That is Dave Dye's dog. Not his actual dog. It's his dog from his story. So I'm going to tighten her up, bro. Make her tight. That sounded sexier than I meant it. So, all right. I better move it in case comments are dropping. because the fans something are for moving the air throughout the room. Fan jokes. Yeah, g'day, mate. Do you guys know I used to work in heating and ventilation? So when it comes to fans, I have got you covered in circulating air. I don't have enough screens, Jared. All right, so dog. Oh, let me tell you something. As I work on this eyebrow, Nick Cleary, if you're watching, Nick Cleary, like me, is a fan of eyebrows, these big brow things. Because as I was trying to draw his two characters, it was all about the brows. All about the brows and how you do it. So, this is Dave Dye's dog. Now, in Dave Dye's story, this dog has some sort of intestinal issue because he's doing that thing where dogs rub their colons on the ground. Vamoose colon. It's evolution, baby. Yeah, and so I'm not putting pressure on myself also to entertain. I'm just going to chill out. So if y'all want to chill with me, if you're drawing at home or writing or tickling you downstairs, whatever you're doing, well, I was going to say let us know in the comments. Don't let us know in the comments if you're tickling you downstairs, because that would be inappropriate. But, let's hang out. I'm going to be my own podcast. Something. Hashtags. Rad. Yeah, so... Hey, Bricko! I can see your comment. I can't see you as a person. Because we don't hang out like we used to. I took some Codral before, which, is meant to switch off your sort of like your symptoms, which made me sort of think like, what other things can they switch off? Like over the years when they've, played around with medicines, I'm sure they've... Mad dog. Hey, Pete. Look, I got two of your guys that I'll be tightening later. This little guy, you and Robbie Donaldson, and then there's another guy, this weird mushroom head guy. Got the rough sort of outline, but he needs a good tightening, mate. Yeah, right. G'day, mate. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I was talking about heady topics like Adam Gillespie sitting in sunny Townsville on holiday, working on a page from the new thing. Awesome. What's your new thing, Adam? Tell me about it. The world, aka me, wants to know. And I am the world. It does make you think, hey, I bet they can turn off heaps of things. Yes, Pete. So if they can turn off your snot, which I feel like my snot has been turned off, but there's like a blockage in the tubes. I've had my tubes snot tied, blocked. Does this dog look like it's wiping its butt on the ground? Kind of, maybe. Yeah, so have they ever switched off a foot? Just like, here's a tablet, and then they realize there's no real use for it, but let's switch this foot off. Hey, we can do that. Can we switch off different feet? It looks thirsty. Hello, lizard. Yeah, well, some kind of thirsty. Let me just look through. Is there a dog bowl in Dave's story? And then this thing has drawn itself. I've read all these stories, but some of them, as is the nature of Vamoose 4, some of them came in a year ago when I originally said Vamoose 4 would come out. There is no dog bowl. And look, So many toes. I don't think this is how it goes. Too many toes. They're not on the ground properly. Drawing in front of people. What a fool. Now it's kind of a chubby dog, which I believe is part of the story. That it's got an insatiable appetite. All right, that's good enough for the tightening, as that's what we're about. Tightening. So what I'm doing now is I am removing the rough background. I'm sort of building this tighter thing. So what I tried to do is, you can probably see that Neil Blandon's dinosaur here is closer to final inks. What I thought I would do in the tightening was just go straight to, I'll just ink all these straight away. I won't even bother tightening them up, brah. And then what happened was I did it in this big, thick line weight. And then when it came time to do other characters, I realized that was going to be a problem. I don't think my characters have eyebrows, says Nick Cleary. They have large, fleshy brow muscles instead of actual eyebrows made of traditional hair strands. Ellipses ? That was to show off that I've recently learnt the word ellipses, because I had to supply. I'm a big fan of ellipses, but I've always called them ... And I was working with a writer who, well, let's just say has the what's the word? B-O-N-F-I, bona fides, has more bona fides than me. And so I didn't want to be all up in his like, yo man, this needs more ... So I looked up what a ... is, and it's an ellipses. So I got that going for me. That's a new thing in the Spedsy repertoire, mate. Yeah, right, yeah, mate. Yeah, g'day. So another. Oh, I thought you meant the fleshy bits were called ellipses. So my nephew likes to tell me that this is a weenus. I don't know if it's true. I'm a very trusting person. So my nephew tells me that that's the truth, and I'm going to believe it. All right, so there's another person that needs tightening, and that's one of these Sputniks. Give old man Biscuit some weenus. I'll give you some weenus in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Give him. Right. Okay, so I need some reference. Let's look up Nick May's pages, shall we? Y'all don't even know how much cool stuff I've got on this hard drive. And y'all don't even know that if it fell in a river, I'd probably jump in and drown myself with it. Because all my cool stuff would be gone. So, Nick, am I drawing this guy here? Thunderguts? He looks more like a Sputnik to me, but... Oh yeah, pardon the sniffs. That's gonna happen. I got a command code. I added extra weenus in my pages. I'll give you an extra weenus in a minute. Now, controversially, in my Vamoose story, shall I show you this real quick? One of my go-to, and I don't even know if you can call it a joke, but so let's have a look here. Emoticon, seal her up. I'll seal you up in a minute. Now that's, I don't know, going to the well too many times or something like that. Some would say it shouldn't have even gone to said well in the first place. For a time I worked in a comic book store, and my boss was a man of peculiar humor, and I myself have a somewhat peculiar humor, And so, man, did I him in a minute every day about everything. Rob, can you put the Marvel books up on the shelf? I'll put you on the shelf in a minute. And he'd just be like, "That I don't. Got to give the fans what they want." That's exactly right. Oh, I got some classic Spedsys coming in. Look at this. Yeah, right. Yeah, look at these guys. Yeah, LOL, mate. Yeah, great looking cover. Oh, thanks, Steve. Steve, I haven't seen you for a while. Come back on Drink and Draw, you heard? Oh, that's how I talk when I'm by myself. I talk like I'm in the mirror. Like, you know when you look in the mirror and you say the dumbest, weird stuff? That's what I do when I'm alone. I say yard a lot. And oftentimes, no one has heard because I'm by myself. Now, I'm looking up this reference for Sputnik, and I feel like I kind of nailed him on the rough, mate. I don't feel like I'm going to even fix him a little bit. I feel like his collar is good. He's holding a radio in the picture I'm looking at, which would be a cool little... Do I dare put the radio in? Well, it's on a... This is like some sort of meta something or other, because it's been said that my art is but an imitation of Nick Mays. And now here I am on Front Street ripping off Nick May. Pretty much doing exactly what Nick drew. Nick's hands are the thing of legend. Oh, he has a strand of hair curling up. He does, actually. Right there. On this picture I'm looking at, Nick, it doesn't curl. Oh, that ain't it. That's the dumb thing about working digitally. Like, Lee Chalker would look at me doing that and just going, dude, just the first one was fine. But when you've got infinity options, you've got to explore infinity options. All right, so let's get these weird ass hands on here, mate. Yeah, rightio, mate. Case not in point, because that's a horrible looking hand, but I've been getting better at hands. That's such a weird thing to say as I draw this impossible looking hand, and I'm even copying it and I'm having problems with it. Come on, bruh. Anyway. I don't like it. In fact, I hate it. Oh, come on, mate. The power of Nick May compels me. Oh, yeah, that's not too bad. Now, I'm going to go against what Nick did, because this one's on a slightly different... regret. Radio. So video killed the radio star. Who can kill the video star? That's it. Mate. Lee Chalker in the comments. It's exactly what I was thinking. I'd be lying, Lee, if I didn't think of you when I was being a little bit pedantic before about the size of people's heads and whatnot, and just moving them. And I thought Lee would just be like, look how easy you sons of bees have got it. All right, I am happy enough with this. We'll fix it in the edit. Ooh. Possible joke. Not really, but can this aerial hit him in the nipple? Is that a thing? And so the nipple's kind of moved. Is that weird? Then he's kind of looking at it like, oh, got you right in the nipple. Thunderguts or Sputnik, can't remember your name. Love that you have no internal monologue. You speak out loud like me. Yeah. It's a problem, Steve. The things I catch myself saying in the mirror when I'm... And the weirdest thing is, like, I have 2 kids and a lady friend, and so I'm not home by myself as much as I used to be. So my times where I have the house to myself are few and far between. And so when I do have the house to myself, the things coming out of my mouth are quite something. I don't know if anyone else does that. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know if this nipple joke is a thing. We will... Do we dare make sput butt? Sput. I have a character like this where the eyes don't have whites, and sometimes it's really hard to make it look like they're looking down, because normally you would have an eye like that, and so it's clear they're looking down. But if you have just eyeballs, it's clear he's looking there. That guy. All right. So next we'll do Robbie Donaldson, Pete Wilson's mushroom tip. Oh, that's questionable. Okay, so excuse me for a sec while I look for reference. This is quite a weird exercise. Like, these are legit some of my favorite artists. And sniff. I turned my mic off, so saved you all. Some of my favorite art. Oh, come on, bro. That required a wipe, mate. I'm sick as a dog, Eric. Yeah. Well, we set it up front that we didn't know. Lee Chalker in the comments blowing my mind. Yeah, what was I saying? So some of my favorite indie creators and artists and whatnot. And I'm almost not drawing their characters in my style. This is not that far off either, this guy. Yeah, it's not like, you know, in the past I've drawn like Ed Kearsley's and Peter Wilson's dudes and Zach George's on Presents and whatever. But the mission statement was draw them in your style. This is just the same thing, because I wasn't too far off, bruh. Yeah, draw them in your style. But then this is sort of... So my theory with this, right? All the covers, my covers, have been Old Man Biscuit doing Old Man Biscuity things. I'm hoping to do a bit more with this Vamoose, because it's going to be a trade, which means it kind of opens it up to a different market where I can put it places. I'll put you places. So I kind of wanted to show on the cover, rather than just have Old Man Biscuit doing whatever is relevant to his story, I wanted to put everyone's characters, but then also, if I did them all in my style, I don't know. Ultimately, I should have done a weird jam piece. Like, here's your spot, Robbie Donaldson. You draw your guy in there. And as I say that loud, that's a way better idea. But alas, we did not. So I'm trying to ape their style while not just tracing it, if that makes sense. Although, before I did try and trace Alex Major's dinosaur because I couldn't get it. But then I ended up changing the angle of the dangle to something more my speed. And I think I kept the vibe of Alex's dinosaur while not completely tracing it. I've essentially inked this guy, maybe kind of, but we'll double check. Now this guy has some weird talisman around his neckaroonie. Man, the day I saw someone, it was the guy who he's a sweet artist. He was he's at least the inker. I think he was the penciler as well on Flash, like maybe 2 years ago. And I saw him draw a circle that looked pretty average. And then he held it there for a sec, and a beautiful circle appeared. And my mind was blown. So the Devil's Toilet, it's a square with circles for eyes, and those, especially when the times when I drew the Devil's Toilet traditionally, you kind of when you're inking, you kind of on traditional, you kind of only got one shot at getting that circle. Although I have learnt from some of my boys that just slap some whiteout on there and go again. But where the hell am I going with this? Circles were the bane of my existence. So why I made up a character that was like 90% eyes. All my characters are 90% eyes. When traditionally inking was a pain in the toot. All right, that'll do, pig. That'll do. So right now, Rose, as you knows, I'm going in and I'm just getting rid of that background, matey, because, we've tightened her up, mate. Yeah, rightio. She's looking tight. And I didn't mean that sexy. I was just saying, the proverbial she, it's looking tight. As in the pencils are tight. It's y'all with the dirty mind. Mate, look at that. She's ready for Instagram. Stop saying she. Stop gendering. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to merge those. So what do we got? We got, oh, look at that mess there. Crikey. So this is one of Neil Blandon's dudes, I believe. So he needs a tightening. Then this one here is Michael Lawyer's character. And then a robot from Nick May needs... maybe not. Maybe that's all right. This guy. Let's do this guy. Well, he's not too shabby, that guy. Let's take a look. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. What are we talking about, Pete? I can't remember. You don't use favorite inking settings for sizes? Well, Steve, as I was saying a little bit earlier, so what I did was I planned to ink on the go rather than do this tightening nonsense. But I did this dinosaur because it's so big and the lines are so sparse. I did a really big line thickness, which then when I get down to Old Man Biscuit's face is going to be monstrous. So with a piece like this, I would probably like to keep everyone's outline at least the same line width. Yeah, roughly. My pen of choice can, like a sort of look. That sort of my style is like, there's no real rhyme or reason, just sometimes she be getting thick, and other times she be thin. Yeah. So do I have a favorite inking setting? So I have my favorite pen that's kind of like, it was one of the preset pens that I then went in and like bits that I didn't like, I changed with the help of some YouTube videos and stuff. Till I was kind of trying to mimic the Photoshop pen that I used for a long time. I just liked the way that she moved. You know what? This guy is kind of. By the time I tighten it, I've inked it, so I might leave him. He looks pretty good. This guy needs some work. Look at that face. Not taking that face home to mum, are ya? So yeah, weirdly enough, this is quite a. So this character is created by the director of American Dad, which is nuts. Well, I don't know if they have multiple directors, but let's just say the director of American Dad has a 3-page story in Vamoose. And how that came about was he just was following Nick, May, and myself on Instagram and was like quite complimentary, particularly on Nick's, was quite complimentary of our art, and I was like, who is this guy? He's really nice, and his art's pretty freaking great too. And yeah, and he's the director of American Dad, and so yeah, I don't know, we continued following each other. And yeah, I just I sent him Sluggish and The Devil's Toilet. Just, no strings attached. Hey, take a look. Just to do it. And yeah, and again, he was really complimentary, and mentioned about Nick's stuff in Vamoose and that we were teaming up and whatever. And I said, well, dude, if you want to come play, and he said he'd love to, which is nutso. And so the question is, how much can I flaunt that without sounding like a monstrous D-bag? No, not Seth MacFarlane. So he'd be the show creator. So it's like, and often these shows have multiple directors, but so he'd be the man on the ground sort of thing, doing the yeah, Lee, I can barely ink and talk at the same time. That's why I'm calling this a tightening, man. Even though I've tightened that to the point of... But Steve, talking about ink, the line widths and whatever, so I hate the line widths here. The hair is too much. The line widths are too... what's the word? Between the thick and the thin. Like, that's too big of a jump. I'll show you an example of a panel. So like the difference like a day makes. So line weight, pretty happy with that. Like see how, like, it starts on this dude's bandana, starts thicker, gets thinner at the top, gets thick again. So then this is like the next day when I've gone off and drawn other things, and then I've come back and I can't remember my line thickness that I used, which is a problem that I should write these things down or something. So this is a panel that normally I would redo once I sort of, sometimes I'm inking in close like this, and then I zoom out and I go, ugh, look how thick and muddy that is. Yeah, so in a perfect world, I will redo that panel, which, don't look at the things I'm allowed to show. I was going to show you one of my older, like the first Vamoose like line thicknesses out the wazoo. You heard, like that is thick. Now it was a learn by doing. As you go further in that first issue, it's a little less thick, but it's still too thick now. I like to think thin. I don't know. Oh, this was the thing I did for Drink and Draw, but I hated it and I didn't want people to see it. So I showed it now. That makes sense. A tightening. I like it, mate. Classic mystical. Yeah, g'day, mate. That's what she said. I'm loving that thick line. Love the progression to now. Thanks, Steve. That's awesome. But have I lost some of my something? I don't know. Sorry, I'm looking for my reference. My reference is on the computer. So this guy's got sideburns. I was a big sideburn guy in the early 2000s. Yeah, it's weird. I'm feeling quite ugly these days. As I get older, I don't feel like I'm aging like a fine wine, like I was told I would, like Robert Redford style. I'm aging like a home brewed beer that's been left underneath the deck to, and then they forgot about it. Yeah, and there was a brief moment when I was about. I'm going by reference. This guy only has 3 fingers, as far as I can tell. There was this brief moment when I was about 24, 25, where I'd just come off this mass. Like Dan May used to work in a chip and lolly shop, and at the end of the day, he'd get to take home all the chips and the lollies. Now, he worked out pretty quickly that smashing chips and lollies all night after work is going to have an effect on the old waistline, even on our young metabolism heavy bodies. So what he would do is he would stop at my house on the way home and give me all the chips and lollies. And I was like, yeah, boy! And I ate them all of them. And to the point where even Dan thought it best to stop delivering the food to me because can't stop, won't stop. So point of this story is, so then, so that's like when I'm about 21 or something, I don't know. And then I worked at a place that had food trucks come, and I would get a sausage. I'm pretty happy with that plunger thing. Yeah. Sorry about that, Dan said. Yeah, and so then I worked at a place that had a food truck come, and so they would come twice. Half their luck, huh? Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, so I would get like a sausage roll when they came in the morning. Because I liked hot meat in my mouth first thing in the morning. So I would have a sausage roll. And then I wanted more hot meat in my mouth come lunchtime. So I would have a meat pie. So fresh off, Dan's chip and lolly deliveries. Where's this guy looking? We'll work that out later. Yeah, and then straight into hot meat. I put on a few, mate. I put on a few. So I wasn't exactly beaming with confidence, one would say. Morning sausage roll and a can of Coke was the perfect morning snack back then. I agree, Jody. And funnily enough, it was back then that I mentioned something like on the first day when I didn't get the sausage roll. The food truck lady said, well, Coke, Coke's not good for you either. It's like full of sugar and all this sort of stuff. And I'm a young idiot at the time. soon to be an old idiot. And that was the first time I realized that you could put on weight from a drink. I thought it was just like a liquid. I mean, it is, but I thought you just like liquid goes in and the liquid goes out into your mouth and out through your spout. But no, that Coke put on. I called it cold coffee. Yeah, people would say, because I never drink coffee, still don't drink coffee. And yeah, anyway, so I learnt that and that's what it's all about. Yeah, so that Coke is bad, is fattening and all this sort of stuff. So, cut to, I lost a whole chunk of weight. So much so, then my dad started worrying that I then got too skinny. But me, I felt like I looked the best I'd ever looked. And so that teamed with, like, my band was doing cool stuff at the time. Like, my band went from, when you're sort of like imposter syndrome out the wazoo, we all know about that. Well, I lost that for a little bit. I lost that imposter syndrome because we got good, in my mind. And so, like, those two things together, dude, I had more confidence than I had ever had and will ever have. And I was speaking about that just the other day. I was saying to a friend, a lady friend, a friend that is a girl. I said, man, what I wouldn't give for those days again. Like, I was thin and I was like the belle of the ball. And she said, oh, those days when you were thin, oh, gross, you were like Daniel Johns thin. That was disgusting. And so, just like that, the only time in my existence where I felt like I wasn't a horrible chud of a man was snapped away from me. Like so much Dutch cheese. So the lesson there is, Robert is the only thing I have in common with Robert Redford. For I am chud, hear me roar. I'm too chuddy to ignore. And I something. Did I mention I was the singer in the band? So what I'm doing now, guys, this is becoming a thing, mate, is I'm kind of going in and I'm removing the dodgy one, mate, now that we've tightened it up a little bit. His arms look a little weird, but I'm hoping to fix that in the final inks when we settle on a line weight and all that sort of whatnot. He's also standing a little closer forward than most people. There is a bit of size. Oh no, that's cool. There's nothing worse than putting it on the wrong layer and then they're attached forever. So I'm shrinking him a little bit because he's large and not meant to be in charge. Cheer up, Sundance. You're the second best looking chap on Drink and Draw. Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, no, this is all just humble brags. I am very attractive. I don't need cheering up. I'm face to face with my face every day in the mirror. All right, she be tight. So tight. Let's move this guy, the hair guy. This lady here is Angie Spice's character. Poor Angie handed in her pages a literal year ago. So I think that one's tight enough, bruh. Maybe this guy needs a once over. Let's just have a look at the old reference material. Fancy having Neil Blandon appear in your comic book as well. That is nutso. It's not too far off. Not too far off. Oh, there's an eyebrow I left out. All right, let's have a look at her, eh? Let's have a look. All right, let's dive in here, shall we? Yeah, g'day, mate. I say yeah, g'day, mate, a lot. That's Neil art is insanely cool. Yeah. In fact, Steve, I think he might be my art grandfather, because if he taught Nick May and Nick May taught me, then surely that makes him my grandpappy. All right, we don't need to place those perfectly. We'll work out where they go later. Yeah, and there is no mimicking Neil's style, because the stuff he does with... Well, here I am literally trying to mimic his style, but this isn't too far off. And he does these cool... I don't know what you call them. One of you artists out there know the name for these things. Like when you do this stuff, hatching, I guess, but not really. Robert Crumb would be proud of his cool art. Yeah. There is a Robert Crumb vibe. Ooh. Cross hatching, yeah. Yeah, I guess cross hatching. I mean, it's not cross though. Cross hatching, I believe, is this. He says, having learnt that in a graphics class back in the Dizay. Sorry, I'm concentrating a little bit. It's got a bit of a Rick and Morty eyebrow. Somewhere Nick Cleary is judging the eyebrow, because he can achieve the same feel without a single strand. I like this too. This is direct from Neil's dude. The line, see, it's just neat. So theoretically, it's that. But the way, I could have just kept it. But the way Neil has it is he's just removed those bits, and it just makes it, I don't know, a little quirkier and cleaner. Add my own sort of mouth so it doesn't look totally just I've ate Neil. He's got all kinds of pimply things. All right, and then he's wearing a sort of a Captain Caveman looking cave. I'm going to call it a cave kimono. Scrolling across the bottom of the screen there, you might see that it says about the Rosie Kickstarter. That, of course, would be Ring Around the Rosie, which we intend to have launch this Friday, I think. I just have some actual work that I have to finish, and then put up some art pieces of Ryan's and Lee's to add to it. Because you will be able to purchase pages of traditional original art with one of the tiers, and it'll be highly limited. Like, I think we're only doing one piece from each of them. I believe it's just hatching. Also seen it called open hatching, I think. Peter Wilson. I'll take it. Now, I'm worried about something. I've made a decision here, and I've given this guy an elbow. There is no signs in Neil's stuff here that his dude has an elbow. So dare a reader pick it up and I was promised elbows. All right, this guy's kind of all right. Now just a few dots to remind me to put dots. Oh, so the guy who doesn't have elbows does have massive kneecaps. Like legit these guys. I'm going to call them knee nipples or leg testicles. One day I had a problem with my testicles and I had to go get an ultrasound and on my testicles. So I went in and went up to the counter and they said, "Oh, who are you here to see?" And I said, Dr. So-and-so, and it was a lady. And she said, "Oh, an ultrasound?" And I freezed on the word testicles. I could not think of it. I was like, an ultrasound on, while nervously pointing at my crotch. I eventually found the word testicles, but then I started overthinking that did she think that I knew the word testicles all along, but I was just a creep who liked to hear ladies say the word testicles. So anyway, I went in. She put the gel on me bits. And of course, I am terrified that, there's going to be some movement at the station because I don't want, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Oh, I don't want people to think that I've got the wrong idea. But it all went relatively okay, and she got the images that were required. So that was that. So then it was, sorry, I better just concentrate for 1 second so I don't absolutely. Hey, we might be up to inking. Everyone's looking kind of okay. Yeah, so I was just down the road from my Omar's house. She would have been 93 at the time. And so I thought, while I'm so close, I should go pop in on Nana, on Omar. And so I did, and I arrived, and she was like, "Oh, Rob, what a surprise!" I feel like I'm allowed to do the accent because it's a Dutch accent. It's her accent. She's my Omar, and I am of that. Is that all right? I'm not sure. But yeah, Rob, what a surprise! And I was like, "Yeah, I was just up the road. So I thought I'd just come say hey." And she's like, "Oh, come in. She's like, "What were you doing up the road?" And I said, "Oh, I was just at the doctor." She stopped and she was like, "Oh, everything all right?" And I was like, yeah. She was like, "Your stomach?" I don't know what accent that was. But yeah, she was like, "Your stomach?" And I was like, "Oh, no. What? What? Are you okay?" "Yeah." "What, your head?" And I was like, No, my balls." "Your what?" So she can't she can barely hear at the best of times. So once again, I found myself pointing to my nether region. And this is a lady who grew up in a war zone. This is a lady who, she's badass, man. There was a time when she said, like, the sirens went off and whatever. Like, this is like 1945, 46, 47, whatever. And she looks outside the window and she said it was daytime. And she's like, the sky was black with planes. And she had gone up to, she would go to the shops of whatever, she would go to get bread. And she would go with her friend every day. And sirens would go off. When the sirens go off, you got to hit the ground. And so sirens went off. And every day she's hitting the ground. And she's just like, I'm freaking over it. So on this day, she gets off her bike. She stands her ground. She looks up at the planes and she gives them the bird. Then bullets rain down, not because of the bird. Well, at least not in the version I've been told, but maybe she provoked them. But bullets rained down, and several people in the vicinity, including her friend, were killed. Yeah, so, and then basically comes over to Australia and she works. I'm not tying this story up very well, but she worked for Lady Coles. Now, that's Lady Coles. That's like, there's Man Coles. I've got a Man Cold, which is different, but Man Coles and Lady Coles. But like, let's say it's Johnny Coles, and he ran what is now Coles Supermarket. And so my nana worked for Lady Coles as her head seamstress or something. Did all her dresses and whatnot. Yeah, but the point to all this is a lady who has seen some stuff. So there I am, her 40-something-year-old grandson, standing in her front garden, pointing at my crotch. And she was disgusted. Well, not disgusted's the wrong word, but she was like, oh, never mind. I can't do her voice very well, but my sister can eerily do it. But I'm not about to have my sister do an impression of my nana talking about my balls, because it's enough layers of weird as it is. What year did she come out to Australia? I have a friend that came out in the 50s. So she came out... I'm horrible at maths. So my mum was 4. Now, a vital part of this equation would be, how old is my mum now? And I think she's 69, dude. I think she's 69. Maybe? 68. So what's that? She came out... Oh, Steve, this is too hard. She came out... So let's say she's 69, dude. 69, take away 4. So she came out... Yeah, I need a calculator for that. So she came out 65 years ago. So 2023, take away 65, 1958. Now, excuse me while I kiss the sky. It wasn't kiss the sky. I had to rub the snot from my nose. However, yeah, so what were we talking about? I don't know. Balls, nanas, nana balls. Recently, I don't know if I want to tell that story. I was going to say, recently my nana went into a home. That makes for a laugh a minute. And what are we doing here if not laughing, mate? Yeah, kid, right. One of my buddies, kids, but he is now old enough to be a buddy, broke his leg, and he's either humoring me or he enjoys a good old yeah, g'day, mate. So while he's laid up on the couch, I try to find inventive ways to say yeah, g'day, mate. When I say inventive, I pretty much just like send him a message saying, bud, I got something to tell you. Yeah, it's not great. It's just one of these, mate. Yeah, g'day, mate. Oh, and we laugh. Well, I do. I can't tell if he is laughing. I like to think he's laughing somewhere out there. So, Old Man Biscuit's story, at least in Vamoose, wraps with this issue. For those of you who have read Sky's Cavern Library 3, you have flashed ahead a little bit to see that Old Man Biscuit has finally returned to Earth. Which, in doing so, puts him into the pages of the Devil's Toilet. Now, I don't know what I'm doing with the Devil's Toilet, because I would be lying. I love the Spedsy verse. This is a problem that I have, though. So I wrote some novels, right? And the first one was called The Fate of Fallenbriar, Volume 1. But it was called There Are Only Moments, was like the main title. I then wrote what I think was a far superior novel called All Will Fall, which was Fate of Fallenbriar Part 2. Now, when trying to get someone to publish your far superior, now I say this like far superior to my own whatevers, when you're trying to get someone to publish something, what am I trying to say? So number one is like the best, like here's the first one. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the second one might be an improvement, but the first one, they still have to like read the first one to judge whether or not they want to publish you or whatever. This hand's too big. So rather than do Fate of Fallenbriar number 3, because I thought it was like, because as much as I love the art of it all, I have goals. And my biggest goal is to my dream of dreams is to have my dumb ideas and my brain, my imagination, pay the bills so my wife doesn't have to work. And that's a long shot, but that's my dream of dreams. So rather than do part 3 of Fate of Fallenbriar, I did a whole new novel using the skills and whatever you want to call it, that I picked up while writing the first ones. This looks weird. Let's just keep going and just hope. So while I love and appreciate that I've gotten better at drawing, or maybe not at drawing, but in the presentation of said drawings, because I don't know that my vibe and dynamics or I think drawing is pretty much the same as Badly Beaten Boy way back when. It's maybe gotten a little bit more dynamic, but the presentation has jumped. The lines are nicer, the colors are better, the shading's better, whatever. So as I continue to do things in the Devil's Toilet sort of universe, freaking toes, man. I'm basically attaching all these things to Devil's Toilet issue 1, which, like, you know, pitching a cartoon or pitching a, like, hey, would you be down to publish my book or whatever? The entry into the Spedsy verse of it all is, well, technically Badly Beaten Boy, but the Devil's Toilet. So if you look at that and say, well, this art style's pretty, you know, if you looked at it, it's pretty rough or whatever, then that's it, right? I shot my shot. So, you know, and it's a best foot forward sort of thing. So my sort of thinking was, well, I'll kill them with quantity of ideas or whatever. So, like, that's like, if you look at the comics, the comics calendar, I'm not, like, I can't outdraw Dave Dye, and it's not about outdrawing, but like, if I'm gonna, like, keep up with some of these guys, like, these are world-class freaking dudes. My stuff is next to, you know, Lauren Marshall, Peter Wilson, Dave Dye, Tim McEwen, Lee Chalker, like, people whose stuff just makes me go, holy moly. So while maybe this is a little bit too honest or something, but while I don't know if I necessarily hold my own in the drawing department, I would put my brain up against anybody else's, if that makes sense, without sounding like a cocky D-bag. So I went for like that foot looks weird. They both kind of look weird. I've never explained why Old Man Biscuit doesn't wear shoes. So my approach to the comics calendar then was to, well, here's a brain dump of all the things I am doing, want to do, that are on the future, you know, whatever. All right, that foot's going to need some... that foot is not how foots go, guys. I hate everything about what you are. I don't know what I was talking about. How does a foot go? Yeah, so I'm trying to work out how to draw a foot. This is not it. How do foots work? This is probably not a thing to do live. Just like, that is how do foots work. All right. That's a problem to deal with when I'm not on a live show thing. I don't know about you, Old Man Biscuit. You look a little bit strange. I forget what I was saying. Something. Yeah, so I tried with the Comics Present stuff. I was going to do Frederick Trelawney with the idea that, like, all right, well, here's another idea. Here's then, like, if I'm doing pages of a thing, it's kind of separate, so I can send it in to the powers that be and try and whatever. But then I couldn't resist tying it into the Devil's Toilet of it all, and before I knew it, I was like, this is Devil's Toilet 3. What have I done? Yeah, so my point, can I get some dinks in that sword? Yeah, can I give you a spoiler though? Here's a little tidbit. That's a space sword. Of course it is. There's a running joke that everything has the word space in front of it. Be careful with the buttons on the hilt. This needs a sound effect. Do that. And flash. And so, yeah, dinks. I agree. Problem for another time. Drink and draw. Yeah, so the devil's toilet of it all. I want nothing more than to finish it. But I also want to... I don't know, man. I also want to, there's so much I want to do. There's so many things I want to put down to try and get eyeballs on. I want to give Octobro some time in the sun. I've got a cool book I want to do with Nick May that, just keeps getting put further and further down the list. And I think it's a solid idea. But if I'm drawing Devil's Toilet, that's going to take, Devil's Toilet 4 and 5. Because I also don't want to just wrap it like Games of Thrones it, where it's just all right, we're on to the next thing, but quick, let's smash this out. I've set a bunch of things up that I want to pay off. There's one funny thing and I keep trying to tell myself, so when everyone draws the Devil's Toilet, they draw him with a lid on the top of the cistern or whatever, which is how I used to draw it. And then actually, yeah, I should show you something else, which is how I used to draw it. But then it's somewhere along the line, I stopped drawing the lid on it. Oh, where's this thing? I want to show you something silly. Oh, where is it? Son of a beasting. I had to switch iPads. I get a new iPad at one point, so I maybe don't have it. This thing. So look at this guy, right? Look at the design. Look at his face in particular. And as we go on, there's his face. It's not bad. Then as we go on, what's different about his face? I forgot to put his goatee on. All right, that's one panel. That's not a big deal that I forgot to put his goatee on. But then I used that picture as the reference for almost the rest of the comic, for the rest of the web comic. No goatee. And so, no goatee. I need a quality control person. Why did I start talking about that? Oh yeah, when people draw the Devil's Toilet, they draw him with a lid on him. And I was like, man, I used to draw him with a lid. Why did I stop doing that? And it's so much better. And then I sort of realized, when you're watching a Marvel movie and you sort of go, oh, why haven't they got, who's a good example? Arming is good radio. Like if this is television, let's say Hawkeye, maybe. No. Man, think of someone good. A good impression, a good example. When they don't have their comic book costume, and you're sort of like, oh, why didn't they put them in the comic book costume? And then by the end of it, they get the comic book costume, and it's sort of like, it's not what you see in the trailer or whatever is not the final how they end up, whatever. And so blah blah blah. There are a few things about my characters that as things have gone on, I'm like, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. And then I was like, oh, but what if they haven't reached their final sort of evolution yet? Like, I can still do the getting the official costume scene sort of thing. Like one thing I was like, I regretted for a long time was that I didn't give the Devil's Toilet a jetpack. And then, because I was like, it'd be so much easier, just story-wise, if this dude could fly. Like, I'm always like, I remember Peter Lane wanted to do a Devil's Toilet Skies crossover or something. I can't remember. He wrote something in it, and it was like the Devil's Toilet's walking down the street or something. And I was like, hey man, looks good, but the Devil's Toilet can't walk. And he's like, of course. So he sends me the script back. It said, the Devil's Toilet jumping down the street. Or something like that. And I said, sorry, I should have been clear. He actually can't, like, he has to be carried everywhere. Yeah, so I was thinking, man, I wish I gave him a jetpack. Cut to, I'm doing Vamoose, and I'm doing Old Man Biscuit, and I'm thinking about how Old Man Biscuit will then, because he's connected to characters from the Devil's Toilet universe, like his daughter is in the Devil's Toilet. Wait, those are thin legs, bruh. And there was there was like an organic way and a call for Old Man Biscuit to have a jetpack. So I gave Old Man Biscuit a jetpack with the idea that he will use said jetpack a time or two before heading to Earth and ultimately giving the jetpack to the Devil's Toilet. And there are things like that I want to get to those bits, but I only have so much time in life. Of like all the things that I suck at, if I'm being honest, I think I'm a good dad, and that's the thing that's like the streak that I want to maintain. I want to keep being good at that, and unfortunately, doing this stuff is what takes me away from those duties or whatever. Like, my dishes are almost never done. My wife works full time, and I work, I don't know what you'd call it, get the kids to school, and then work for a few hours, and then pick the kids up, and then half dad, half work. And then nighttime is well, often work if I had deadlines are kicking my butthole, or it'll be drawing my stuff, this sort of stuff. And I kind of did the sacrificing thing back in the day, and I don't know if I want to sacrifice some stuff. Reference, what's up with this guy's shirt? Hey Alexa, show me shirt. Now, I talked about this guy's a bit weird, short in stature, but I'm not sure that's going to matter. What's this dude looking at reacting like that? I like to make these things kind of make, maybe he's looking up at the dinosaur. Let's go with that for now. Mate, this is an emotional roller coaster. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not intend. I'm just all alone in this room here. And I'm a little bit under the weather, so I am perhaps a little less, g'day, mate, than normal. You might recall the last time I did a stream, my pen kept running out. But now I have this fancy. Can we talk about the prices of things? I mean, yeah, so the Apple Generation 2 pen or whatever. So I went in assuming it would be at least $100 because Generation 1 was. It was $200. Generation 2, $200. And so I've spoken about my morning pie. We know about my hot meat morning requirement. And it's award winning where I go. And not just one of those shops that like puts award winning on the front door. They were on the news recently for winning an award. Nick, you should be drawing at the same time. Do some designs for Night Night. Secret thing of me and Nick's. What was I talking about? Yeah, my look at that glitch. Yeah, so my morning pie used to be $6.80. Now that's an expensive pie. This is like a hoity-toity sort of a bakery, but I get a satay chicken pie. Sorry, I need to do one of these, mate. Sorry, I need to clear the old Mount Sinai sauces. Yeah, $6.80, right? So it's already, a couple of bucks more expensive than your regular pie. But that's because I get satay chicken. All right, so that's all right. Then I go in randomly one day and they're like, that'll be $7.20. Like this is about a year ago. And I was like, all right. Also, and normally I used to get the pie and a donut. Steve, if you're still out there, look at this eye. I don't like the eye on this side. The thickness here is too much. I don't know why. It's just annoying me. But actually, when I look at it on the screen there, I don't mind it too much. No, that's not too bad. We'll see if it bothers me later. This hand is from this lady. So yeah, so $7.20, and I would often get a cinnamon donut as a bit of a chaser. So I started doing the cinnamon donut maybe once or twice a week because it's just ridiculous. So then I go in today, first day back after the school holidays. So I drop off the kids and I go get some hot meat, mate. She's like, that'd be $7.80. Those fingers suck buttholes. $7.80. It's gone up again. Now I don't know where my line is. Where's my? Oh, what's wrong? Why is it that the pencils, because they're quick and whatever, and I just look at it and I go, that looks perfect. That looks fine. I'm just literally going to trace the pencils, which is the main sort of thing about inking, right? Don't think, just ink. But yeah, so I don't know where my cutoff is, guys. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can keep up this morning meat situation. That's $6.80 a pop. Now, you could say go to like I have a beautiful bakery down the street that's like a regular bakery where the pies are $5 and everybody knows your name. But I can't be having red meat every morning, you guys. Like, I'm a disgusting pig, but I'm not an idiot pig. I want to kind of be alive to be this dad that I purport to be. So, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, reference for Robbie Donaldson, Peter Peter Wilson? Peter Russell Clark. Yeah, so I can't be having red meat every morning, guys. I just can't do it. Prices on everything is/are ridiculous right now. Says Peter Lane. I don't know what we're going to do, Pete, because we're trying to sell these funny books to people. And, you know, some of my friends are doing Kickstarters and stuff. And I just can't afford to back them because, you know, shit be cray. And then I'm saying, could you please click the notify me on the Ring Around the Rosie Kickstarter. So only click it if you are, you know, willing to forgo your morning pie. Man, Peter Wilson and Robbie Donaldson have absolutely smashed it with their story for Vamoose. It is so strange and different and funny. It's really quite cool. I can't wait for people to yeah, I don't know. I hope Vamoose 4. I don't know why, but in my head, it's it really could be something. And I'd love it to be something for all the people who are in it, including myself. But it would just be cool if, you know, if it sort of took off a little bit. Funnily enough, I had someone ask. So, Vamoose 4 Vamoose has largely been invite only. People like, you know, because I don't know why. Just that's the route we went. But yeah, a guy somewhere asked me if he could be in number 4, and I went and looked at his artwork and stuff and said, "Man, that'd be cool. We'll work out something like, let's chat closer to the thing. We're like number 3 only just came out, and blah 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 blah." I can't. This guy, they never show his feet. Does he have grass feet? Let's say he does. Yeah, so, you know, then cut to, you know, 8 months later or whatever it was, when it comes time to when Vamoose 4 is starting to sort of, sorry, I'm just trying to look at this guy's hands. I don't know if he has hands either. They're always hidden. Yeah, it comes time to actually put Vamoose 4 together, and so I went looking for him, and for the life of me, I can't, like, I've got his name written down, but I obviously spoke to him like on Instagram or, I didn't check the Vamoose Instagram, I don't think. But yeah, chatted to him on one of the like 14 different ways you can chat to people, and I can't find any details on him. Yeah, so, you know, if you're out there, I did look for you, but I couldn't find you, and so I moved on without you. All right. This guy doesn't have little glowy things on his eyes, but I can't not put them there. So there's still a few peeps watching, which is ridic. So if you if I should be talking about something in particular, let me know, because I don't really know what to talk about. I know the Codral didn't turn everything off like I hoped. I was hoping in doing this stream it would give me a little burst of adrenaline, mate. But I have been left waiting and wanting. Wanting and waiting. Waiting and wanting. This came in the mail today. Hails to the year. I can't wait to read this. In bed tonight. I like to read my comics in bed. So yeah, some good old fashioned Gary Challoner in bed action tonight. Get Tim McEwen in me bed, Darren Clace in me bed. Yeah, g'day, mate. So yeah, I was thinking, like, obviously stuff had gone on which caused the book to take a while to come out, and then I thought about the saying, all good things come to those who wait. And I thought, bitch, I've been waiting. I've been waiting a while. Talk more about people who like my art. Well, I was concentrating there. I wasn't trying to think of people. Now I'm trying to think of people. I know Alex Major is a big fan. I mean, you know that too, but he has mentioned, I don't know, you know how you can sort of tell when people really mean it. Not to say that other times they don't mean it. I was about to say thanks, Ryan, but Ryan's talking to Nick. But yeah, you know how you sort of like, most of us are kind. Whoa, I've just realized the mistake on the other arm. Look at that. That's the problem with zooming in. Look at that guy. One arm finishes here. That is not how arms work. Yeah, I can tell kind of like that Alex for one, there are others, but Alex really likes your art. I can hear it in his voice when he talks about it, which is cool. I think Dave Dye, Dave will secretly let you know if he doesn't like something, and sometimes not even that secretly. So I think, remember I was saying that I've gotten better at hands? Look at this nonsense. That's massive as well. Big fan here. I think you've gotten better and better. Oh, Saddle Slap, that's your guy. Saddle, in your, as far as I could tell from the reference material, you don't have, there's no shots of this guy having hands or feet. I'm just realizing, zooming out, that those grassy feet look a bit, maybe I'll save it till it's colored, maybe it'll look better. Grass on top being so thick lines and then those things being so thin lines is a bit weird, but we'll worry about it later. Yeah, Saddle Slap, does he have hands? Does he have feet? Or is he just feeling fine like a vine? I was dissing this weird hand thing, but I'm starting to not mind it. But that's not where thumbs go. It's there. It's there. Hands are the worst. I was talking with Ben Sullivan. What's your favorite thing to draw? And he said hands. I want to leap across the table and slap him in his beautiful face. Because if your favorite thing to draw is hands, it's because you're good at drawing hands. Oh, look at this. What is this thing? Come on, bro. Yeah, left the hands and feet to your imagination for interpretation. All right, well, this is what I've done with his foot, which I'm kind of happy with that. The hands are a little less inspired. All right, when in doubt, draw it out. Okay, so hand shape. Wow, that is, yeah. Who stands like that? Nobody. So, I gotta look at myself. How are my hands going? All right, this is not a problem to be worked out on stream. Don't show them your weaknesses. All right, who's next? I guess this dog. Not stoked with how I've done it, but let's go with that, bro. I love that. Love that thickness of the eye on the. I love how it gets thicker there. Kind of mimicked it, ish. So what should I? I like to watch. So Ryan Vella, of course, is part of the Ring Around the Rosie comic book that is on Kickstarter right now. And part of the Kickstarter is Battery Hen. And probably when I end this stream tonight, I don't have like an outro thing or whatever, so I'll probably show the Battery Hen trailer as my little out thing, so I'm not sitting there going, press. But yeah, man, book is wicked. Hey, can I show? I can show you some pages of it. Because remember, I said I've got everything on my things, and if I drop the things into the water, then I'm dead. So yeah, look at this. That is what I refer to as unbridled Ryan Vella. Frangipani, get her! So yeah, man, kick-ass book. So yeah, click the little linky poo, won't you? Three. What's 3, Sis? What are you talking about? I was just thinking. We're at 42 followers. If we can get... Oh, thanks, Tony. Yeah, if we could get 2 more followers before I end tonight, that would be sweet. Because then I can like ring Lee and just be like, do you see what I have done? Have you witnessed my power? I've just always wanted to ring Lee and start screaming about my power level. So if you could help me facilitate that. Yeah, and I was thinking about maybe doing this. Like, my plan was to be a little bit more upbeat, but I'm sick. But I was still going to draw tonight because, because we have to. So I thought I'd go ahead and do this thing, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, next week I was thinking about maybe teaming up with Quicknick and, I don't know, maybe we'll draw something together or both work on respective things and just look at all those toes. And just, I don't know, talk, or he can listen to me just say, yeah, g'day, mate, over and over and over. Rule of 3, always have 3 copies of all important files. That is smart, Sis. I have the rule of 3 when it comes to hot meats. So I like to have 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, and 1 for dinner. But yeah, I do... After a decent session, like tonight, perhaps, I will at least load these up to my computer. So it's a rule of 2, but also my iPad is set to back up every night. So theoretically, that's 3. Maybe. Oh, I foresaw colouring this tonight, and I must have been flaming mad, mate. I'm not even going to finish inking it. Does anyone else ink a little bit slower when it comes to things like covers or whatever? Which I don't reckon. It's not necessarily right that I should be taking more care, because I think vibe gets lost if you try to make every line like the best it can be, sort of thing. I think the best vibe is, no one beats Nick May, Dave Dye. Check out their vibes. And not every line perfectly intersects with the other one, etc. Had to clear the tubes, mate. Definitely slower with covers from Tony Menzies. Yeah. I hear ya, boy. Calling him boy. He's my senior. Senior. I feel like I should talk about something. I'll vibe you in a minute, says Nick May. What should I talk about? We'll get deep on something. Let's get in the weeds, bro. Let's combine some layers for starters, because it's getting a bit messy otherwise. And man, combine the layers when you are at full power. Fully concentrate, because holy moly, combining your inks with your pencils and then they're stuck together forever. And if anyone knows my stuff, I like it to be clean. Clean. All right, so what have we done? We talked about Devil's Toilet. Talk about my need to make it. Clean inks, dirty mind. Yeah, brah. Yeah. So my son calls me bro, and I don't mind it. I think it's pretty funny. I feel like my Opa, who has long since passed, he would see that as a sign of utter disrespect. And he's probably right. My son may not respect me. No, I think he does. Although, funnily enough, we were talking about something. We saw some sort of drawing, and a reference came up about something about me, because it's a weird thing that I draw for a living. So for my kids, it's a weird. My wife works from home, so my wife's job is at least a little less fun looking or whatever. But my kids have a warped sense of like what work is, because I'll be like, I have to work. You've got to go play your Nintendo or whatever. Like, I have to get this done or something. I'm talking for not Vamoose. I'm talking about like paid gigs for my work job. Yeah, so they have a warped like idea of like what work is, and then they'll be like, my son will like draw these things, and then be like, do you think I can get $1 for that? And he probably could because they're so cute. But I was like, it took me 40 years to get people to buy my artwork or whatever. But yeah, when talking about something came up and my wife said, well, that's like what Daddy does, isn't it? Daddy draws for a living. And my son went, yeah, but Daddy's drawings are so cringe. And I didn't totally hear him. It was like, and it was in front of my brother as well. My brother heard him. And I was like really excited to hear what he said. I was like, sorry, buddy, they're what? Thinking that he said like they're cool or they're fun or whatever. And he goes, cringe. I was saying that they're so cringe. And yeah, and I was not even mildly offended because I just thought it was really funny. My skin is thankfully thicker than that. But my brother laughed. That he was like, I don't know why you wanted him to repeat it. Yeah, and then it came up the other day. We were walking together somewhere, me and my son, and I said something about I had to get home because I had some work due. And I said, oh, even though you think my drawing is cringe. And he goes, oh, whatever, bro, I take that back. Dude's 7. But yeah, I thought it was awesome. I'm pretty lucky in the kid department. They're pretty freaking amazing and funny. I do not wake up well in the morning, whereas my daughter, she is just like a firecracker first thing in the morning, and she's freaking hilarious. And where normally I would like, if it was anybody else, I'd be like, oh, shut up, it's too early. Yeah, she just makes me laugh. And she's got a natural, I think, a natural inkling gift or whatever for art. And I've like taught them bits and pieces. But as soon as I did, I didn't like what it did to their drawings. And so I stopped. And my daughter's drawings, at least, my son doesn't draw as much, but my daughter's drawings reverted back to her own thing, which I think is for the best. Because I was like, you know, I get the black and then I draw. So I would be like, you know, I would say like, draw a circle like this. Then draw a circle inside, another circle, and then you've got eyes. Then you can draw a thing, and then draw this, and then you put ears, and then you put hair, and I was drawing like that. And so she was drawing with a black outline, and then I just realized, like, you know, that's my limitation. That's where I live. I live in Black Line City, where everything needs to have a black line. Whereas she's done some drawings, some illustrations or whatever you want to call it, where she starts with colors first. So it'll be, you know, there's no black outline. There's like a pink head, and then she uses black for the eyes, and you know, and then the red skirt is just all red, and then like a darker red to show shading or whatever. It's like, yeah, I wanted to find her own art, I think, because rather than be like a version of me or whatever. Hey, Bo, what's cracking, man? It's a bit late and I'm sick, so I am. The energy level is a little low, mate, but, you know, a couple more haze and we can turn this up a notch. Couple more haze and we'll get some horses around here and we'll have ourselves a hell of a party. Yeah, there we go. Bo's haystacks brings all the horses to the yard, and I'm like, it's bigger than yours, and I'm like, hey, horses eat it. Oh, man, I heard a horrible joke. You know, the only jokes I remember are the horrible ones. So then when people go like, tell me a joke, I only have these horrible jokes that I don't know what they say about me. And I was just about to tell you one, and I don't know if we should. I don't think we should go down that route. I did used to like, we would, you'd do those gross jokes where like, why did the girl fall off the swing? Because she had no arms. But see, even that's probably ableist or something. So it's probably best to just make fun of myself. Because then the only person I'm offending is me. And the Lordy knows a thing or two. Line thicknesses. Hey, so I'm here to dispel a myth. I think I've worked out something. When artists say, this was my warm-up sketch or whatever, this is my warm-up for the day, or this is my cool down. Why did the boy fall off his bike? Says Bo. Yeah, because someone threw a fridge at him. I was trying to think what the fridge one was. Why did the koala fall out of the tree? Damn me. Because it was dead. Yep. Those are the sort of quality jokes I'm talking about. But I want to call, so swear word incoming, I want to call bullshit on something. So I used to think that people would say, this was my warm-up sketch for the day, or my cool-down sketch for the day, because they wanted to basically disarm you a little bit, like if, maybe it's not their best work in their mind. So if they say, I'll be like, this is a quick sketch, or this was my warm-up, or whatever. So it kind of like negates, it's sort of like, this isn't the final piece or whatever. This is just something I whipped together this morning to warm up. Since I have found myself working for a company as an illustrator, I've realized that when posting art on social media of the Devil's Toilet or whatever, while I've got a deadline for something else that I should be working on, well, then I need to put some sort of disclaimer, don't I? Like, I drew this last week, or this was my warm-up sketch. So, like, the people I'm thinking about are the people, who work for Marvel and DC, and they owe 14 pages of Superman by the end of the week, but here they are drawing Captain America. So they say, this was my warm-up. There's no such thing as a warm-up. Like, a couple of strokes and you're warm. And then you go to your drawing board and that's easy. But yeah, you know what I mean? Do you think there's meat in this burger? Have I unlocked it? Because I'll tell you something, no one's cooling down. No one's doing a cool down sketch. If you've been drawing for 8 hours of the day, like, drawing's awesome. And doing it professionally is the dream. But no one's like racing for a deadline and then being like, let me just cool down. No, I'm not having it. So hit me up in the comments and tell me how wrong I am. But I think I've dispelled a myth here, guys. I think I have torn this industry apart with my theories. Thick line, thin line. Now, Robbie Donaldson and Peter Wilson, their story takes place largely at like a round table, sort of Knights of the Round Table type setting. So lots of people, I can't see their hands and their feet. So I don't know what's going on down here. This guy does seem sort of, after all that, does seem to have hands. But I don't know, like, I've kind of made him look like he's got a long body. He's got 4 fingers. So just the regular amount of fingers there, mate. Yeah, right, yeah. There we go. Yeah, right there. She looks good, mate. Why did the second koala fall out of the tree? It was stapled to the first one. This is the sort of quality comedy that when we all team up together... Oh, Saddle Slap. It's a fun guy being. All right. Oh, Saddle Slap, don't get me wrong. I love this guy. His design is wicked. I just don't know what his feet are doing. Much like me on the dance floor back in the day. Don't know what my feet are doing. I had a friend who really liked the way I danced. In that I used to dance like a monstrous moron. But she was dating a buddy of mine, whatever. I was single, and it was like, she was kind of like, I was kind of like a brother sort of thing. Like she wanted me to find love. She was rooting for me. She wasn't rooting me. She was rooting for me. Like every time she would dedicate it to me. So I don't know if she genuinely liked my dancing, or it was sort of like a don't stop believing. Like, she wanted to boost my confidence or something. Yeah, it's fucked up actually. She passed away a couple of years ago now. She'd only be my age. But she was really cool. See, now we learned a lesson earlier here. Third one. Bo has so many koalas fallen out of this tree. So a third koala fell out of the tree because of peer group pressure. And then he wrote friend zoned, which I'm guessing was the story about my friend who died. So Bo, how you feeling? Check yourself. No, she found my stupid jokes funny, so I like to think she would think that was funny. Maybe. So remember the lesson we learned here from Neil Blandon about those lines and how he kept them not intersecting? I'm thinking of applying that just here, because it's getting a little busy. Oh, where else was I thinking? Up here as well. It's getting a little busy, and that way it's, it's a little neater. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Bo, don't go. Don't go on me, Bo. Pearl Jam style. Pearl Jam is my favorite band for those playing at home. They can do no wrong in my book. And you know why I think they're my favorite band? I mean, other than just like, I love them. But like, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, they were all my jam. But not my Pearl Jam. Oh, Dan knows what I'm talking about. What was I talking about? Yeah, Pearl Jam grew up with me, kind of thing. Like, people would say they lost it or whatever, but I don't think they lost anything. I think they matured. And as you get older, stuff changes. Saddle Slap, if you're still there, what would his feet look like? I'm going to leave it there and deal with it another time, but would he have toes? I bet you I'll forget to fix that later. All right, let's do Sputnik, Thunder Guts, Thunder Sput. Inappropriate. Hmm. Dan, are you drawing? And what are you drawing? Now, Nick does these guys. Sorry, I should mute myself while I had to sniff, you guys. I had to do it. Yeah, so Nick goes full black in these bits. And I don't know if I can do it. I always want to do things more full black, but I don't know why I can't. It doesn't look good when I do it, even when I'm ripping off the person who does it. It's kind of got a little bit of Homer hair going on. No, mate, we got back to Canberra today and too tired to do anything. Here. You might have noticed I hid all the legs and feet under the table, says Saddle Slap. Yeah, you only need to take a 2-second look at the pages of Vamoose and see if you can find a feet. Unless I make the feet a feature. That, my friends, is called wordplay. And look at this controversial panel. Jerk, 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 jerk. I want to get this book in libraries and indie bookshops. That page might be the very thing that prevents my dreams from coming true. For jerking is not a library-friendly activity. Now, of course, this refers to 2 ships that are attached as per Vamoose 3, so they need to be separated. So in doing so, or to do so, Dr. Hammerstein, oh man, look at that. Shoulder right into his boob. That's not how you draw. Yeah, so Dr. Hammerstein has to turn off anti-jerking protocols and then sends basically the forward and backward thrusters to Mondo Barp Barp's wristwatch, which first appeared in the comic book Not On My Watch. Get it? Because it was an actual watch. What the hell was I talking about? Now, where is my toothpick? Yeah, so Dr. Is that where the nipple goes? Again with the nipples. Dr. Hammerstein has to turn off anti-jerking protocols, sends the forward and backward thrusters controls through to Mondo's watch. Ships separate from each other. All this and more in the pages of Vamoose 4, which I'll stop calling Vamoose 4 because it is Vamoose : it's evolution, baby. And then, mate, when this book is out and Rosie and Battery Hen are out, it's like this beautiful island on the horizon where I'm just like, what am I going to do? I'm most likely going to do Sluggish 3 and 4, which is a conundrum in itself. because Kickstarter is clearly the way I should do this thing called comics. It's been made clear. But they're going to call me the Kickstarter kid. If I go straight from Rosie to Vamoose, and then straight from Vamoose to Sluggish 3, and then straight from Sluggish 3 to Sluggish 4. So I was thinking I release Sluggish 3 and 4 at the same time. Then that saga is told as well. And then maybe, hopefully I can get the trade published somewhere. Otherwise, I'll just do it. But, I don't really want to be selling. Remember those books you just bought in single style? Buy them again. Stapled together. So that's my low-key printing schedule, drawing schedule, and then once Sluggish is done, holy moly, then I don't know what I'm going to do. It should be Devil's Toilet 4 and 5. But I also have this other thing that I really want to do. I mean, I've got a thing with Nick May called Night Night. And I should say that because I should actually get the name out there so that someone doesn't take it. Is that how it works? So I said this a while ago. But the basic idea of Night Night is that, you've got there's sort of 3 main characters, I think, maybe 4. There's a warrior woman who I think in my newest version rides a unicorn because my daughter loves unicorns. And then there's a big dude called Old Bear, and he's like a retired knight who's sort of long past his prime, which is based loosely on Druss the Legend, if you've ever read David Gemmell's books. Like, it's a comedic version of Druss the Legend. And then a squire type character, like, oh, golly gee, Old Bear. And the idea being that there is a knight, as in a N-I-G-H-T. Maybe I shouldn't be putting my ideas out there, but who knows? There is a night where all the knights, like, how you have a boys' night or a girls' night or whatever. So there's a night where all the knights get together, get on the mead or whatever. And then so what a perfect opportunity for a bad guy to basically take out the whole Queen's Guard or King's Guard or whatever. Then on Night Night, when all the knights are gathered in this one pub or saloon or whatever. So, you have the tricky bit will be, you're doing old-timey whatevers, and so girls can't be a knight. But then I want this book to be an all-ages book that appeals to girls. So yeah, so she's not allowed at night because she's a girl. Then the squire guy, he's not allowed at night because he's a knight in training. He's not a fully fledged knight. And then there's the Druss the Legend character, old Bear, who maybe he's there to start with because he's a legend and all, but maybe too many jokes at his expense about being old or whatever, and he leaves. And so basically, all the king's horses and all the king's men get taken out. Sorry, I'm just looking up reference for split face. What was I trying to do? Oh yeah, leaving these three to protect the realm, or whatever. And yeah, so what fashion this book takes shape, I don't really know, because Spedsy wants to get something in a shop, and I don't know that floppies are going to do that. I don't know. I just want to make cool stuff. I don't want people to see it, I guess. Something. I don't like this arm. That arm looks weird. Then I've got this other thing that I want to do, but I'll have to get someone else to draw it. It'll either be, I'd have to ask them. Ben Sullivan or Dave Dye would absolutely be amazing. But I'd love to make it a huge, like a 80-page thing, and I can't really ask that of either of them. I mean, obviously I'd pay them lots of dollary dues, which would be the plan, but I'd have to save up for it and whatnot. Yeah, but I kind of want to do this story, and I toyed with the idea of making it an Old Man Biscuit story, because it is an old man, a grumpy old donk story. But there may be some jokes, but it's not going to be funny per se. And I think I want the main character to be a stroke survivor, because my dad had a stroke a couple of years ago, and it turned our life upside down. Yeah, so it's sort of like one of those write what you know. I think it would make for a quite compelling character, and like a bit of a tribute to my dad and stuff. Man, I'm not liking this arm, and I don't know how to fix it. It does have a weirdly skinny. Yeah, so it'd be about this old dude who, it's him and his dog living on this sort of like ranch type, farm type deal. And he's sort of like one of those, like, there's a noise outside, grab your shotgun type dudes. But obviously, and he would there'd be a whole thing where he has to put his splint on for his leg and stuff, and cock his shotgun or whatever with one hand. And him and his dog go out to investigate what the noise is. And it's something that's been in his yard since, maybe his kids used to play on it or something, like some sort of thing that's been sticking out of the ground, and the kids used it like a cubby house or something. But yeah, it's some sort of alien vessel or something. Well, we don't know that yet, but the day has come where it starts coming to life. So he thinks he can stand his ground by himself against this thing. But then, as time goes on, or, however they get alerted, whatever, it would be a fictional version of the FBI or whatever, because, man, it's too much research trying to do the real things. Dave Dye would say it would be whatever the Australian version is. I don't even know what they call it. That's the extent of my research. I don't even want to Google what it's called. You can just draw my stuff from now on. I'll send you the scripts tomorrow. Yeah, Neil, if you're still there, your guy is on the horizon. That's your guy there, and then I've got one of your little dudes here. They're super rough. Oh, and then this guy. Now, Neil, I'm not super happy with my interpretation of it. His head's a little bit longer than your guys, but I think it pays enough homage. Yeah, and so I don't know. So then like there's a, whatever this thing is, it moved, but now it's sort of dormant again. But it's leading to all kinds of like, this dude's property is now like teeming with agents and press and whatever. And it's not even really about the thing in the ground. So like an agent, a female agent, has to stay. I'm a sucker for like wolf and cub type stories, and like Sword Daughter by Brian Woods, like one of my favorites, where it's like, I love an old dude. That's it. I'll just leave it there. I love an old dude that like has to kind of mentor a younger whatever. Neil, I also learnt something from you, which I'm applying. So the on this monocle here, you had it so theoretically this should go like that, right? But you have it so that there's a gap, which I think makes it a lot neater. And so you might look here and see that I've then stolen your modus operandi and applied it elsewhere. I think it might get applied here too. Because as I was saying before, Neil, I do believe you are my grandfather of cartooning. That's not an age thing. That's if Nick May's my cartooning father and you're his cartooning father, then you are my grandfather. So hopefully you take that in the spirit it's intended. Yeah, so my old dude on the farm. So a lady agent has to stay, like live on the property essentially for a number of weeks. And so she, it's more a story about this lady and this man having to coexist, and him being a prideful son of a bee who won't let her like help with his splint on his leg and stuff like that. And yeah, more about their relationship. So like I want it to be like, as much as I say about my style, how a lot of the sluggish talk, I would say how it took me a long time to marry my comedic style to serious issues, but sluggish is still, I don't know if you would say tongue-in-cheek, but something's in that cheek. So I'd like to get someone to draw it, and I'd really like to write the crap out of it, and just sit with those two people in a kitchen for like 3 pages. So it's not an action-packed testicles to the wall type deal. That's the 7th time I've mentioned testicles tonight. So for those keeping score, yeah, and I don't know what the ending is or anything, and if aliens even do pop out or anything. But I just want to live in that world where there'd be some sort of like he's estranged from his daughter, and or she lost her father or something, and then so they're both feeling something. I'll be filling you in a minute. So what else should I just put my ideas out there for free, just in case I never get to make them. So like I said to my, no one likes when I bring it up, but it's so weird. Like, I think about death like every night, and it's freaking me out a little bit, and I can't stop it. And so I'm a little pragmatic about it, where I like, much to my son and daughter's chagrin, I'll like tell them things about how I love them and I'm proud of them, and if I'm not around to say that, blah blah blah. And I've said to the boy who says my art is cringe, but I'm like, all this stuff, all this stupid stuff, if you find any worth in it and I'm not around, you do whatever you want with like the devil's toilet and sluggish and whatever. Like, you want to draw and you want to use them in your universe and you want to kill them on page 1, go for it. You want to turn it into the next Ninja Turtles, go for it. You want to have nothing to do with them at all, go for it. Like, my daughter then tells me, stop, I don't want to know about it. And she's right. I should shut up about some things. You did that to yourself. You did. And that's why it really hurts. Depeche Mode, I think. So this character in the background here is one of Nick Cleary's creations. Now, I kind of feel like, now I've obviously got the longevity of being a student of Nick Mays, but if there was a school, a Nick Mays school, I feel like Nick Cleary would want to attend, or Widley has already attended somehow. So like, I think he's a fan of the whole shindiggery, the vibe, the style, the way to carry yourself. I don't know. And so if Nick May is, that makes Nick Cleary my cartooning brother. Neil, I doubt you're still there, but on the off chance you are, so your guy here, I believe, was like eating trees or something, leaves or something. Somewhere along the line when drawing it, I've turned it into like puke or slobber or something. Don't know how I feel about it. And also, this is a horrible expression, I think, for something that's dribbling. Maybe it's just going to be a simpler mouth. But yeah, I'm taking artistic license there, mate. Yeah, righty-o, mate. Quick might be the principal of Nick May University. I'd have to have tenure there, wouldn't I? I'd be like a professor. I am prone to hero worship. This is one of my, like, it's a feature. It's a, what do they say? It's a bug, not. It's a feature, not a bug, or something. I don't know. It's actually remarkable that my brother and I have turned out, it's like semi-nice people, semi-respectable males. Because all my weird, like, except for you'd be the janitor, filthy psycho. Nice. Yeah, weirdly enough, my parish priest was one of my heroes back in the day. And then you can guess what came out about him. Then all my uncles are all like, anyway, they're all something. Fine, beautiful, most likely ripped off from a 50s kids science book. Awesome. I've gone longer than 2 hours and 25 minutes. Holy moly. And there's still a bunch of people watching. Y'all are very nice. I would be doing this anyway, but just this would be an internal monologue. Monologue that's like I don't know, joke about a singular log jokes, you guys. 2 hours and 25 minutes in, it's time to bust out the log jokes. I'll bust your log out in a minute. Doubt it. Maybe I should stop while the getting's good. But I kind of want to keep drawing, so therein lies the conundrum. I don't like that. Oh, I've got I've got an idea that's not even an idea. It's an idea of an idea that I want to write a script on live stream with no idea going in, no anything going in. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe a loose idea going in and then just like write it. And then like can truly see. Because I don't know if anyone's, I mean, I'm sure someone's done it, but that'd be a weird, like, on Front Street sort of a thing to do. Oh, son of a bee sting. These lines, they do nothing. There's a thin patch. It's looking great. And you're very entertaining. Thanks, Pete. I feel not so right now. I'm under the weather. But I mean, if I wasn't on this live stream, I'd just be feeling crap by myself. So let's feel crap together. Peter Lane's story is pretty interesting, pretty cool. That he had a comic book shop, and then Shane Foley would come into his comic shop. They'd talk comics, and Shane would show his artwork or whatever, and then Pete was like, I had an idea of this Arctic Fox who has a library and whatnot. And they team up and they make a book. And then like Pete goes off and does the music thing for a while, and then he shops at alternate. This lady's got a heart on her face. Shops at Alternate Worlds, where he buys his comics from, and the owner there, Joe, and him get talking about how Pete had a comic back in the day, Sky's Cabin Library, and Joe encourages Pete to come along to a Creator Day and sell the remaining copies of Sky's Cabin Library, and then Pete meets Gary Della, and Gary Della is like he's the Stan Lee of Australian comics. He's like he could sell 22 pages to a person with 30 pages. That makes sense. But he can light a fire under your butt. And it's like, dude, I'm just trying to chill out. Why is my couch on fire? Oh, because Gary Della lit a fire under my ass. It can be very inspiring. Very inspiring. I'm just going to check this lady's glove. What's the deal with her glove, mate? Yeah, so encouraged Pete to get the library dusted off. And I feel like Pete's one of those people you kind of don't have to keep stoking that fire. Once it's lit, he'll stoke his own fire. I'll be known to do that, home by myself, stoke my own fire. Yeah, and hit the ground running now. And maybe it's weird to say it because I'm doing it, but it takes some moxie, I think, to put this sort of stuff out there. And I feel like there's a fire under his butt and some moxie in his front pocket. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Find a better. Find a better premise for a comic book than the Skyscraper Library. Yeah, not only doing it, but like quality as well. Like doing it and doing it right, sort of thing. That's the thing. Ugh, wonky boob. It's a heart. Oh, it is a heart. There you go. My butt was definitely on fire. And that's not for everybody. That inspiration can read as pressure for some people. But I think if you are on Gary's same wavelength, and I think take it in the spirit he intends it, that pressure is actually a gentle nudge, like the dude on Hey Dad. Not the dad. What happened there? Well, I don't know. Let's not talk about it. But nudge. Nudge didn't do anything wrong as far as I know. The daughter changed. Just randomly. Hi, Daddy. I'm different now. Alf. Weirdly, I was trying to think of shows that I used to watch around that time. Alf was weird. Lots of weird shows. I want to talk about... Oh, I'm cat sitting in a few days. Sorry, my sniffs. I meant to... Anyway. Fun fact about me. Scared of snakes. What? Scared of cats. Was scared of cats for the longest time. The thing about cats, they're unpredictable. You cannot predict when and where they're going to scratch the shizer out of you. What is this lady wearing? So yeah, like you're just chilling out. There's a cat over there. And then, oh my God, it's on my face. But my dog, Thunder, who's my first ever pet, he taught me to appreciate all animals. He sat me down one day and he's just like, yeah, good on, Mark. You ever heard of these things called cats? And I was like, oh, I've seen them. They often make love in my backyard and scare me when I was a little boy. Yeah, well, they're not all bad. What is even happening? Yeah, so I'm cat sitting. Cats making love in my backyard as a kid. It sounded like two babies fighting. Which I don't know which image is worse. Two cats making love or two babies fighting. Because what have the babies even got to fight about? It's like, dudes, your life is pretty much sucking on a boob, sucking on a crusket, pooping in your own pants, and then having a nap. 2 out of 3 of those I do most days. I'm drawing this robot thing with it hasn't been tightened, you guys. I didn't tighten it earlier. So we're going in. I was going to say something which I didn't mean as sexual, but it was going to sound sexual. If there's anything worse than being sexual, it's sounding sexual. I don't know what these things have for hands. Is there a panel with their hands? He said as he looks for reference. Kudos to those who have been with me 2 hours and 36 minutes. Kudos to the people who watched this later for 2 hours and 36 minutes. Y'all be crazy. You know what? Deep cuts. I think I have to go back to Vamoose 3 to find out what these robots have for hands. I believe it's a 3-prong deal. 3 prongs. Oh, word to the wise. That robot could have one of 3 letters. Now, Nick, I have noticed, I think they say NQR, not quite right. Could I put a V on it? Being that, oh no, here's one with an N on it. Oh, maybe it's not NQR. Could I put a V on it for Vamoose? Like that would be a cool little thing? No? Look at my prongs. My prongs are amazing. One goes like this and the other goes like that. Look at my prongs. I'm happy enough with those prongs. Let's get a little bit of this going. Oop. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Then the tricky thing where it changes direction. Oh, golly. Look at that. Looks like it's coming into the foreground. I'll come into your foreground in a minute. Fantastic foreskin. That has no reference to anything, but I don't know why. I thought to myself, I shouldn't say that. So then I thought, well, now you've got to say it because you'll make yourself laugh. And look, if you're not laughing, you're crying, mate. That's my philosophy. Wait, don't get too nosy. Just did a line, mate. That's what they do, don't they? They do a line. Yeah, I did a line, mate. Did a couple, actually, all over this piece. You know what we're going to do that we should have done at the start? We're going to lock our pencil layer so that I don't accidentally something it. That one's skinnier than the other one, but we're not all perfect, mate. Even droids have faults. But a droid can get a technician. What can we do? Except suffer alone. In silence. He said loudly. Look at my prongs. My prongs are amazing. Don't mind the prongs. Alright, let's get some of these. Oh, I sniffed on camera. Apologies for that. Let's change direction. Now, let's just check our reference. See if there's any sort of little tag next to the things. No, they're just plugged into the side. I'll plug you in a second. Now, I don't think I've seen the bottom of these robots. I did them as a square with a little round bit on the bottom. In my mind, they're hovering. Yes, there is one with a round bit on the bottom. I think they're hovering. I will be devastated to hear they have legs. Because the whole point of this guy was to be floating up here. Like, using her hair as some sort of like... So if they've got legs, Nick, I don't want to hear about it. Keep it to yourself, mate. Just doing lines, mate. Just doing lines. Stayed up late last night doing lines. Look at the way that curves into her hair. That's not how that goes. There was a line there that I liked, but I wanted her hair to... When in doubt, rub it out. Make her hair go everywhere. Now they overlap. Look at that. That's magic. See how those lines connect? Grossly? I hate it. There we go. That's better, mate. Yeah, g'day, mate. That's it, mate. Look at that. Alright. These lines in here are a little loosey-goosey, I believe. Yep. And zip. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-ay. They have a unicycle wheel. Okay. I guess they hover. Yeah, it's canon now. Oh, I sniffed again. Son of a... Let's check the reference. They've got these weird... I say like weird, it's not... It's like cool weird. Design weirdness. It's like a... It's kind of like a... I don't know what you call it. But like it's like a square thing like that, but it's not defined like that. It's defined like that with shadow, which I think is cool, and I look forward to shadowing it. And then these are like some sort of sans serif. We can get a bit loose with this one, mate. Yeah, a little bit loose, mate. There it is, mate. Look at that. Yeah, right here. I don't like it. It's in the wrong spot. Let's see if we can save it by moving it. I don't like it. Let's see if we can save it by deleting it, pasting it, distorting it. No, no, no. Where is the sweet spot? There. Sort of. There. Okay, then we put that one down in the hide you away. Their heads were going to be bug zappers. Then the idea changed. That's cool. Alright, that's not amazing. That's not the worst either. It's what my wife said at the altar after my vows. Yeah, it's not amazing, but I think we will. Now there are lines in the background there, but I think I will do them in a grey later during the colours. Because I think it might get a little bit messy for on here. Look at my prongs. My prongs are amazing. Ooh, that's dirty. Glad you think so. Look at my prongs. They're all up in your hairdo. I don't know how he's getting like enough leverage by holding on to the top of her bouffant. But it's comics. You don't have to have your hair rules can be loose. I think it was Jim Lee who said that. Your hair rules can be loose. I don't like this, said Jack Kirby when Jim Lee. Did Jim Lee and Jack Kirby ever meet? It's time for the song, peeps. Look at my did I do that on a separate layer? Yes. Okay, let's all sing. Look at my prongs. My prongs are amazing. Glad you think so. Something. I forgot it. All right, let's do some of these lines. I like it when they change direction. Makes it look like I can draw. Look at them move. All right, which one's below the other one? Which one will blow the other one? Come on, mate. I mean, it is. If you're rewatching this, firstly, why? Secondly, this was recorded late at night. So I'm allowed to talk like a weirdo because I'm sick and I'm tired, like a hoodoo guru. Like we're doing the late shift tonight, so there's no holds barred. Do you know, for the longest time, and even then I just said it, no holes barred is what I thought it was. And I was like, they're in a cage, and it said no holes barred. Like, it kind of makes sense because there's actual fact, as I grew up, I would come to learn that it was no holds barred. So you could use any hold. Now, the weird thing about that is that as life went on, some holds actually were really barred because people were getting hurt a lot. So even in no holds barred match, there are still holds barred. But they're the holds we don't talk about. For instance, there is no actual choking allowed in WWE anymore. So things like your choke holds and whatnot, you can do chin locks, but those are not choke holds, guys. Remember that when applying them to your friends and family. I remember the last time I got my mum in a chin lock. Oh, we laughed and laughed when she passed out. Made a mess of the roast dinner. Because, of course, you know, once you lose oxygen to your head, you're essentially like a, you know, you're the fish at the end of the epic film clip from Faith No More. Jumping around like a, you know, you lose all sort of, what am I trying to say? Basically, my mum fell over and took out the Sunday dinner. And it was a Tuesday. It's like she fell so hard she went back in time. I would my mum sent me a couple of photos of her 21st, and man, like if I had a time machine after I've killed Hitler and all that stuff, I would love to go to my mum's 21st. My dad was at her 21st. They lived across the road from each other. It's like from when my mum moved. Mum came to Australia when she was 4. Lived across the road from my dad. And so, yeah, they were together at her 21st. And man, like they look cool as shit in the photos. And me now being old enough to be their parent, I would be the weird guy in the corner, the weird old guy in the corner. But man, I would love to go back there and talk to him. Just to find out. And I told my mum I'd like to go back and like to find out what makes her tick. And she tried to tell me what made her tick. And I'm like, no, you're that's through the prism of now. I want to go back and talk to actual young you. And then I want to call them on all their weird things and be like, oh, we don't say that anymore. In the future, no, stop calling those people this. And they were horrible racists. They weren't. Well, I don't know. Until I go back there, I won't know. I can assume, because the racism didn't carry on through to the now. Or did it? No, my parents aren't racist. They just hate the working class. What does that even mean? It is weird to went to an army base the other day just to see if I could if I still got it. Like when I was a kid and I used to play war. No, I went to an army base and like an old retired thingy. And my kids were running around in like all these tunnels and shit. And I just thought, I wonder if, like, not that the war wasn't, like, this is at Point Nepean in the Mornington Peninsula down here in Victoria. So it's not like the war was being fought here. But that, like, these are still dudes that, like, lived in these dank corridors and whatnot for, months at a time and not seeing their family. And so my kids are running around playing Tiggy in these tunnels and stuff. And I wondered, I was sort of like, would these dudes be like, watching from wherever, going, yeah, that's why we did it. Look at those freedoms we fought for. Or would it be like, look how spoilt and disgraceful and disrespectful these little punks are. And in a way, they're kind of right. Yeah, we also saw the spot where Harold Holt drowned. And how weird is it that at one time here in Australia, we had a Prime Minister that was just like, I'm just going to go swim out in that crazy surf, like Patrick Swayze style in Ghost, just after he finished the pottery with Demi Moore. Demi Moore, did she poop in your car? Demi Moore, holy moly. Not Fatal Attraction. What's the one where she Indecent Proposal? No, not that one. One with her and Michael Douglas. Golly gee. Demi Moore, did she have sex with Michael Douglas? Yes, she did. In that movie, I can't remember. Drop in the comments your favourite Demi Moore movies. G.I. Jane. Oh, that's topical, isn't it? Out here getting slapped. It's a G.I. Jane joke. Were they ever in a movie together? I can't even remember what we were talking about. Demi Moore and Michael Douglas. Yeah, they were. They were in a movie where he is married to someone else. I want to say Jean Triplehorn, but I don't think it was her. It was Jean Quadrahorn. No, it wasn't Jean Triplehorn. Demi was the one that had the horn. I'm just derailing myself. So he's a businessman with a loving wife at home, and she's nasty. Demi Moore is nasty, and she wants to get down Mrs. Brown with Michael Douglas. And Michael Douglas is like, bro, I can't. And she's like, yeah, but look at these boobs. And he's like, oh, I still can't, but holy moly. And so he finds himself in a entanglement until he thinks better of it. He sees himself in a mirror, and he doesn't like what he sees. And I'm like, I identify. And so then he's like, no, we can't. And she's like, we can. And he's like, we can't. And they can and can't and can and can't, back and forth, until, she's like, are you walking away from me? You can't walk away from me. And and then he accuses her. She accuses him of all this sort of stuff, guys. And something plot. And then I think she dies. Triple Horn gorges her with a large stick, not even one of her 3 horns. You just described at least 4 Michael Douglas films. I can't believe you're still here, Quick. You are a solid man. I haven't seen many Michael Douglas movies. I actually can't think of another one. Of course, there's this lady with her legs, the lady legs with her, when she opens her legs. What's that? Something Fatal Attraction? Yeah, Fatal Attraction. No. Leg Interrogation. Sharon Stone. Yeah, that's the lady. It's not the name of the movie. I'm going to say it's called Fatal Attraction. I think that's Glenn Close. Basic Instinct. I tell you, I think I kind of nailed it with that foot. And I think the idea is there that it's like loose. Whereas Old Man Biscuit's feet, I tried too hard. So, leave it loose. I think then the person looking at it judges it loosely. Is that a thing? Michael Douglas plays a businessman who meets a sexy woman. Name this movie. Tom Hanks is a 30-something everyman. Imagine being every man. I've got a story in Vamoose that I haven't finished writing yet, but Dana Lawson is going to be drawing it, and it's about what humans evolve into in a million years. And it kind of closely is what if you were every man? Sort of. I don't really like that. Everything I just did is kind of weird, but this lady does look a little strange. Tell you, we're on the road to something. Michael Douglas. There was the one where he was an angry man in a car. I was going to call it Taxi, but it's or Taxi Driver, and that's not the name. Traffic Day. Something Day. He has a crap day and loses it. I'm actually not sure I've seen it. I want to say it's called Traffic. Traffic Day? That can't be it. Hey, honey, I'm just having a traffic day. Falling down. Oh, well, when you get back up, Nick, let me know what the traffic movie is called. Michael Douglas. He was in that movie. Michael Douglas is not someone I go out of my way to see/watch, but I know he was in a somewhat iconic movie that I've not seen. Sniff on camera, apologies. Something about a plane in the jungle, and a famous actress is in it of that era. And it's something like the Wedding of the Roses or something, or the Weeping of the Willows. That's not it, but it's like I'm almost there. Enchanting. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's like Enchanting a Rose or something. I can't believe how close I felt like I had it in my head and I lost it. I found the keys to the Red October and then I fucking lost it. Romancing the Stone. Jewel of the Nile. Both of those are the right answer. Somehow I was romancing the Nile or Jewel of the Stone. Not happy with this dribble. But we'll fix it later. We'll see what it looks like later. Me. Romancing the Stone. All right, more Michael Douglas movies. Ant-Man is obviously, I've seen him in Ant-Man. I didn't mind him in those, actually. I thought he was pretty good. Yeah, any of the ones where he does this, where he's boning people. I don't know. He's a weird looking dude, and at the same time, he's not. Maybe I'm weird looking. I mean, I am weird looking, but maybe my eye for men is twisted. But they're good looking dudes. I can't think of any. I can't think of one good looking dude. Like there's dudes that are like stereotypically good looking, Chris Hemsworth or whatever, but what's like a cool looking dude? Arthur Fonzarelli? Where are all the good looking dudes at? Like not like as a young man he was on the show The Streets of San Francisco. Righty, right. Yeah, I'm thinking, who's a good-looking dude that's not like Captain Chin City? Who is the best-looking dude in my mind? I don't know. I fear I may never know. One of my dreams is to voice a trailer where I can say, in a world. And I can't do the rest of the voice that fills out like in a world where a businessman meets Sharon Stone and he's Michael Douglas and they have sex. He's married. Maybe I can't do the rest of it, but not as good as I can do in a world. I don't really have the bass for it. You need a good bass. Do I dare? What's the time? 11:04. Do I dare do more? She'd be late. I have arms on the... All right, maybe I should stop. Yeah, we've nearly inked all of it. Maybe I should stop. 3 hours, that's a lot. All right. So I think we did something tonight, people. I think we made a thing. That's what it is. We got to somewhere. Still need to do a foot, but we'll deal with that in Footscray. It's the time for jokes are over. All right, so thank you for sticking with me this long. It's amazing that you have. The music's stopped, so that means we're officially on the out. So I'm going to play a little trailer as my outro. And yeah, if you would like to go to rosie.comex.studio, click the little notify me thing. Otherwise, I might do this again next Monday. We'll see. Maybe I'll bring my pal Nick Cleary along. Who knows? Soft. I should. That's yeah. I should go to bed. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll see you down the road. Bye.